If you're a diehard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. Something wild is reportedly happening inside the Cleveland Browns organization, and it's shaking the walls from the owner's suite to the locker room. Sources close to the situation are whispering that Jimmy Haslam, the outspoken and sometimes volatile owner of the team, has dropped an absolute bomb behind closed doors. The alleged statement making waves is brutal. "If he's the starter here, then this team doesn't need me." That's not a casual outburst. That's an ultimatum. It's the kind of thing that changes locker rooms, reshapes front office power, and sends shockwaves through the fan base. Nobody's confirming who he is yet, but everyone has their guesses. And if those guesses are right, the Browns could be heading for a drama bigger than anything they've seen since the franchise's reboot era. Think about it. An owner openly questioning his team's quarterback decision? That's nuclear. You don't say something like that unless there's serious frustration building up. Haslam's known for being passionate, sometimes impulsive, and definitely unfiltered when it comes to football matters. So, if this rumor's true, we might be looking at the beginning of a major power struggle inside Cleveland, one that could define the franchise for years to come. Now let's break down what might have pushed Jimmy Haslam to the edge like this. It's no secret that the Browns have been living in quarterback chaos for decades, constantly searching for that elusive franchise leader. Every year, it feels like the same cycle: hype, hope, heartbreak, and then finger-pointing. Deshaun Watson's arrival was supposed to end that. Haslam bet the house on him, literally, $230 million fully guaranteed, a move that shocked the entire NFL. But fast forward to now, and the returns have been, let's say, questionable at best. The injuries, the inconsistency, and the off-field baggage have all combined into a nightmare for ownership. So imagine if the coaching staff, led by Kevin Stefanski, is even considering benching Watson or adjusting his role. If Haslam caught wind of that, his quote starts making sense. Maybe the "he" in question isn't some random backup. Maybe it's Watson himself, the man Haslam staked his entire reputation on. If the coaches want to go in a different direction, that could feel like betrayal, like ripping out the heart of Haslam's vision for the team. No wonder we're hearing this rumor. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Some insiders believe Haslam's frustration might not be aimed at Watson, but at someone else entirely. There's a theory floating around that the "he" could refer to a player creating tension in the locker room. Maybe someone challenging authority or pushing back against the team's culture. The Browns have tried hard to build a tight-knit environment after years of dysfunction, but when big personalities and big contracts collide, tempers flare. Maybe Haslam's just tired of it all. Maybe he's watching millions pour into talent that's not producing, watching fans grow restless, and watching his own investment start to feel like a sinking ship. When an owner reaches that level of frustration, words like "this team doesn't need me" start sounding less like a threat and more like a warning shot. If this rumor holds water, it could signal Haslam questioning his own role, something owners rarely do publicly. That's why this story feels so explosive. It's not just about one player. It's about control, pride, and the future of an entire organization teetering on the edge of chaos. And that chaos isn't new in Cleveland, right? We've seen this movie before. The Browns have always been a team where high expectations collide with brutal reality. Remember the years of quarterback rotations, coaches on short leashes, and constant rebuild promises? The difference this time is the money and the spotlight. Deshaun Watson's contract changed everything. It shifted how the league sees guaranteed deals and how Cleveland handles accountability. Haslam didn't just sign a quarterback, he rewrote the market. But that gamble came with consequences. Other owners hated it, fans were divided, and every missed throw became a national headline. So now, if Haslam feels his coaches or front office are doubting his decision, you can see why he'd explode. That quote, that fiery declaration, could be his way of saying, "I'm still in charge here." It's about ego, control, and loyalty, three elements that define every power struggle in the NFL. The only question left is, who's going to blink first? Because when owners start talking ultimatums, someone's job is always on the line. Behind the scenes, you can bet this is creating major tension. Coaches are walking on eggshells, executives are choosing words carefully, and the locker room is buzzing. Nobody wants to be caught on the wrong side of the owner's fury. If Haslam's really issued this ultimatum, It puts Kevin Stefanski in a brutal position. Does he follow his football instincts or protect his relationship with ownership? It's a lose-lose scenario. The players feel it too. They know when the air changes. Rumors like this spread fast, from the practice field to social media, and once it hits the fans, it becomes unstoppable. Cleveland's a passionate city, and the Browns are practically religion there. So this story isn't just gossip, it's a spark in a powder keg. The timing couldn't be worse either, with the team fighting to stay relevant in a brutal AFC North. One wrong move, one divided locker room, and the entire season can unravel. If Haslam meant what he said, the Browns might be heading into a full-blown identity crisis. And you know what makes all of this even juicier? Nobody's denying it. Usually, when a story like this leaks, teams rush to shut it down. But this time, radio silence. That's suspicious. It's like everyone's waiting to see what Haslam says next, or if he even addresses it at all. Maybe he's doubling down, maybe he's regretting it, or maybe he's letting the message sink in. Either way, it's having an effect. The fanbase is divided. Some are saying, finally, he's demanding accountability, while others are calling him a meddler who can't stay out of football decisions. Whatever side you're on, one thing's clear. The Browns are once again in the headlines for all the wrong reasons. And honestly, you can't make this stuff up. It's classic Cleveland drama. Emotional, unpredictable, and just when you think things are turning around, boom, another explosion. The only question is whether this one burns everything down or forces real change inside Berea. Stay tuned, because this storm's just getting started. Let's be real. When an NFL owner like Jimmy Haslam supposedly drops a line like, if he's the starter here, then this team doesn't need me, it's not just frustration. It's a statement of dominance. It's him saying, I built this, I pay the bills, and I make the final call. But football doesn't always work like that. Owners write checks, but coaches live the results. So imagine the tension right now. Stefanski's in the film room trying to figure out how to win games, while somewhere above him, Haslam's fuming about who's under center. That's a nightmare dynamic. This kind of rift has destroyed teams before. Just look at Washington or Dallas in their worst years. Too many voices, too much ego, and suddenly the locker room doesn't know who to follow. If the rumor's legit, Haslam's passion may have crossed into interference territory. And the scary part? Once an owner feels undermined, they usually double down. That's when you start seeing forced lineup changes, awkward press conferences, and mutual separations that everyone knows aren't mutual. It's chaos disguised as leadership, and it never ends well for the people stuck in the middle. Fans are already speculating about the fallout. Some think this could mean a total shakeup, front office included. If Haslam's losing faith in Stefanski or GM Andrew Berry, he might hit the reset button again. We've seen it before. The Browns' front office history reads like a revolving door. New GMs, new coaches, new eras that never quite last. But firing people isn't going to fix what's broken here. The real issue is the clash between emotion and strategy. Haslam wants results yesterday. He's impatient, intense, and deeply involved. That can be good when it drives accountability, but it can be disastrous when it fuels panic. The Browns finally had some stability, some structure. Now it's all under threat because of one angry quote. If Haslam doesn't clarify this soon, it'll keep spiraling. The media is running wild, the players are whispering, and every microphone in Ohio is waiting for the next headline. The longer this drags on, the harder it'll be to pull the team back together before it's too late. And here's the wild card. Deshaun Watson himself. If he is the Haslam's talking about, things just got way more complicated. Watson's contract makes him practically untouchable. You can't bench him without making the entire organization look foolish, and you can't trade him without swallowing an ocean of dead money. So Haslam might be trapped by his own gamble. That frustration, that feeling of helplessness, could be exactly what triggered the outburst. Maybe it wasn't even about Stefanski's coaching. Maybe it was about realizing that no amount of money can guarantee chemistry, health, or redemption. Watson's still got talent, sure, but the consistency hasn't been there. Fans are starting to lose patience, and Haslam can feel that pressure too. If he really did say those words, maybe it wasn't a power move. Maybe it was just raw honesty, the kind that slips out when someone's tired of defending the indefensible. Whatever the reason, it's clear something inside Cleveland is cracking. Meanwhile, over at the practice facility, the players are caught in the crossfire. They hear the rumors just like we do. They see the headlines, the tweets, the speculation. It's impossible to ignore. When ownership drama spills into the locker room, it creates uncertainty. Who's really in charge? Who do you trust? The veterans try to keep everyone focused, but even they're human. You can't build momentum when the entire organization feels like it's walking on glass. And that's what this feels like, a slow build towards something explosive. Maybe a resignation, maybe a firing, maybe just another headline that keeps Cleveland in the national spotlight for all the wrong reasons. It's a shame too, because this team had real potential. But once the owner's emotions become the story, football takes a back seat. And in a division as ruthless as the AFC North, distractions like this are the kiss of death. What makes this situation so fascinating is that it's not entirely about football. It's about power, perception, and pride. HASLAM'S reputation around the league has always been complicated, admired for his passion, criticized for his meddling. This rumor fits perfectly into that narrative. It's the kind of quote that captures who he is: fiery, unpredictable, and unwilling to let anyone else steer the ship. But NFL success requires balance. Owners need to trust their football people, even when things get ugly. If HASLAM'S trust has been broken, whether by a player, coach, or the system itself, then Cleveland could be heading for another reboot. That's the scary part for fans who've waited decades for stability. They've seen what happens when ownership chaos takes over, and they know how quickly it can all collapse. One bad headline becomes a bad week becomes a bad season, and before you know it, you're rebuilding again. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. And yet, there's a strange optimism underneath it all. Because as messy as this is, maybe it's exactly the kind of shock the Browns need. Sometimes pressure reveals truth. Maybe HASLAM'S anger will force accountability. Maybe it'll make people inside the building wake up. This could be the breaking point that leads to real change. Or it could be the final straw that sends the franchise spiraling again. Either way, the whole league's watching now. Cleveland's not just another struggling team. They're a soap opera with shoulder pads. Every word, every gesture, every quote gets magnified. And this latest outburst, real or rumored, might go down as one of the most defining moments of Jimmy Haslam's tenure. Because when an owner says, if he's the starter here, then this team doesn't need me, you can't walk that back. It's out there now, echoing through Berea, bouncing off locker room walls, and reminding everyone that in Cleveland, drama never takes a day off. As Garrett's confrontation with the Browns continues to dominate headlines, speculation intensifies around the timing and strategy of any resolution, with insiders indicating that negotiations could accelerate if teams sense urgency or leverage. Some reports suggest that Garrett may be prepared to sit out or strategically limit his participation to amplify pressure, while others point to a more collaborative resolution that could involve concessions, public statements, or behind-the-scenes agreements. Analysts are noting that the outcome will likely have long-term ramifications for player management relations, team cohesion, and even league-wide norms regarding how elite athletes negotiate power and influence. Meanwhile, fans are dissecting every move, post, and whisper, creating an almost real-time narrative that blends rumor, fact, and speculation in a way that keeps the story continuously evolving. Social media amplifies these dynamics, with debates, polls, and trending topics ensuring that Garrett's situation maintains a constant spotlight. Sports media outlets are dedicating significant coverage to potential trade packages, strategy discussions, and historical comparisons, reinforcing the perception that this episode could become one of the most significant player management dramas in recent NFL history. With tension, speculation, and rumor continuing to build, Myles Garrett's confrontation with the Browns remains a story in motion, captivating fans, analysts, and league insiders alike as they await the next explosive chapter in this ongoing saga. Even as the Browns attempt to manage the fallout from Garrett's explosive demand, insiders suggest that the situation is evolving into a defining moment for the franchise, its front office, and its players. Reports indicate that decisions made in the coming weeks could set the tone for how elite talent is managed, how conflicts are resolved, and how player power is balanced with organizational authority in the modern NFL. Analysts emphasize that Garrett's determination to assert control over his career trajectory reflects broader trends in sports where high-profile athletes increasingly influence not only their immediate environment, but also league-wide culture, media narratives, and fan engagement. Meanwhile, the rumor mill continues to churn with potential trade scenarios, draft implications, and strategic maneuvering by rival teams, keeping the Browns at the center of speculation and discussion. Fans remain divided, with passionate arguments emerging on social media, podcasts, and sports shows regarding loyalty, ambition, and the ethics of trade demands. Each leaked tidbit, unnamed source report, and insider whisper only adds fuel to a story that is as unpredictable as it is captivating, ensuring that Myles Garrett's explosive confrontation will dominate NFL conversation for the foreseeable future. With tension, uncertainty, and drama escalating, this saga is far from over, and every new development will be dissected, debated, and amplified by fans, media, and analysts alike, making it one of the most compelling narratives in modern football history. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you liked the video, share it with a fellow fan, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!